You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, we're going to talk about the Denver Broncos. I did a video a few minutes ago about the Raiders. Antonio Pierce came out, made some comments for the Black Hole Raiders Nation to show up and show their, you know what, in anticipation of a massive matchup with the Chiefs. But this time we're going to look at the Broncos, because in case anybody hasn't noticed, what it is Sean Payton is doing in Denver is working. It is working. They've got a serious win streak going right now. That culture's taking hold. Russell Wilson continues to inch up PFF's quarterback grade board. We'll take a look at that, and we'll look at the schedule, because the fact is the Raiders, they've got a little bit of a harder path to the playoffs, whereas the Broncos, honestly, it's wide open. It looks like they've got a legit shot to make a move up. Now, somebody's going to have to stumble in front of them, okay, but there's definitely a path to the playoffs for the Denver Broncos. Peter Schrager has come back and says that Russell Wilson and the Broncos are officially back. Now, look, nobody is confused to the point of believing that Russell Wilson is back to Seahawks form, okay? Pro Bowl, Hall of Fame kind of Seahawks form. But there's no question he's having one of the better seasons that certainly the best Broncos quarterback season that they've had in years. And Sean Payton has figured out something. Let's run the ball. Let's protect the ball. Let's take the points, kick field goals, and we're going to win more games than we're going to lose if everybody buys in. Now, you can see right here, this is PFF. He's 21st in the league in passing yards, but he's tied for third in touchdowns. He's thrown 19. Russell Wilson is on pace to throw 30 or 32 touchdowns this year. I mean, you know, right, wrong, indifferent, you throw 30 or 32 touchdowns, you probably had definitely a top 10 quarterback season in the NFL. Not only that, but he's holding on to the ball. He's tied for 32nd in interceptions. Now, currently, right now, as it stands, Russell Wilson is the 14th rated quarterback on PFF on their board for this year. But I'm going to be real here. I've said, I mean, there are a few flaws, I think, in this grading system, because I'm going to tell you, Russell Wilson's played better than Trevor Lawrence this year. I mean, I don't think there's any confusion there that he's played better than Trevor Lawrence. He's arguably played better than Justin Herbert and Matthew Stafford. I mean, you know, so there are flaws in this grading system. I think really and truly he should be somewhere up in this 8 to 10 range right now. I think that is where Russell Wilson has come back to, and it's amazing that we are even here talking about this. I mean, he came into this season with a legit chance, and this is something we've chronicled at great length, a legit chance to be benched for Jarrett Stidham. That's why Sean Payton got Jarrett Stidham, because he thought he was going to have to bench him, Russell Wilson, and put some other quarterback in. There was talk Russell might not make it half the season. So let's get to this. Are the Denver Broncos back? This is Broncos Wire. Very possible. Now what about Russell Wilson? It sure looks like it, according to NFL Network's Peter Schrager. He thinks the new Broncos head coach, Sean Payton, has officially fixed Wilson's issues. After a disastrous 1-5 start, Wilson has spearheaded Denver on a 4-game winning streak, including a come-from-behind 21-20 victory over the Vikings this past Sunday night. In those 4 wins, and guys, these stats are pretty jaw-dropping. Wilson's play elevated the Broncos to victories over perennial playoff teams such as the Packers, Chiefs, and Bills. look, the Bills and the Chiefs, yeah, the Packers, they're not good this year. Okay, so let's just make sure. Alongside defeating the Vikings, I want to make sure I'm fair there. This ain't your daddy and mama's Packers team, okay? In the winning streak, Wilson has thrown for 760 yards, 7 touchdowns, and no picks. A 73% completion percentage. Schrager commended Wilson's ability to become consistent again as a way that indicates he is back. I think it's more of he's brought stability back to a Denver Broncos team that has greatly, greatly needed some kind of stability. And the Lord knows they've tried a lot of things and a lot of quarterbacks since Peyton Manning decided to retire. So let's look at the schedule. This is where we're at right here. The Broncos, we just did the Raiders earlier. The Raiders are 12. Broncos are at 10. All right. They've got the Browns this weekend. Browns, boy, they bring hell on defense. They bring hell on defense. But you got a rookie quarterback playing with the Cleveland Browns right now. And this game is in Denver. Okay? So that may be the avenue that helps them pull this game out. It's a big game. Okay? It's a big game. And then next week, a huge game against Houston. Because right now, Houston is in the playoffs. The Browns in the playoffs. But then you get to games you really and truly got to win if you're going to make this run. Let's just bring this up right here. I mean, I think you've got to, at minimum, you've got to split one of these two games. The Lions and the Browns. Those are tough games, right? We know Lions, that's going to be in Detroit. That's probably a loss. It is, okay? And it very well could be that two teams that we cover a lot on this channel, that it will come down to that last game of the season. And like I said in that Raiders video, that's a game that could go either way. That's in Las Vegas. But you got to think, Broncos fans are going to travel for that Raiders game. You know, that's not all that far away from Denver. It's not. They can make that track, and they're going to show up to Vegas for that game. So right now they're sitting. Let's see, Denver is sitting at 5-5. All right, they got to get past the Colts, got to get past the Bills somehow, some way, and they catch the Browns at a good time. All right, I think. The problem is the Browns, really and truly, defense travels, running game travels. They could shut the Bronx down. All right, I still think that may be a win for the Broncos. 6-5, but I think they dropped this game to Houston. All right, I do. 6-6. Chargers, it's a coin flip. Lions, I think, is a loss, but they can beat the Patriots. They've got to win one of these games against the Chargers. There's two of them. The one in Denver is probably a win, and then that last game of the season against the Raiders is going to be a huge deal. And I think this game against the Browns is so important because I think there's a chance that in the playoff standings, when you look at it, when you look at this up here, I think there's a real chance that they're going to have to get past the Browns to get in the playoffs. And the Texans, if they win both of these games, Browns and Texans, then you hold the tiebreaker over both of these teams. And then you got a real shot to make the playoffs. So whatever's going on in Denver, whatever it is, that culture that Sean Payton has finally got in there, that New Orleans Saints culture, his offensive scheme, he's obviously found plays that Russell Wilson is comfortable with. Going to be interesting. Two teams, both in the AFC West, both with a legitimate chance to make some magic in the last half of the season. You know, and one of the two of them, I kind of think one of the two, either the Raiders or the Broncos, are going to end up slipping in. You know, and that's huge. It's huge for Russell Wilson. Now the question is, if Russell Wilson makes the playoffs, does that guarantee that he's coming back next year? And I know he's on an ugly contract and this and that, but will that keep Sean Payton from looking around and wanting to flirt with other quarterbacks? I think he certainly, this draft is so deep, Sean Payton's going to draft a quarterback out of next year's draft. Okay, just in case, just to develop. Right? Tell me what you think. Black and White Sports 2 supporters. Peace them out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.